Friends, countrymen, fellow degenerates, welcome to week 5 episode of Bets and Buds. We the Buds helping you cast the bets. I am smoking Jason Token. This is my sidekick, Bobby Light. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm good, Jason. How are we doing this week?
Good, brother. This season's going by quickly. We're already quarter way through almost. Quarter way through.
Week 5 already.
Ooh, and week 4 was a rough one, baby. It was a rough one out in these streets, man. How'd you do last week?
I barely got above 500. Barely got above 500.
I was still at a 53% clip win-wise, but the spread kicked my ass, man.
Yes,
the spread kicked my ass.
The spread was rough on us both. I did slightly better than you, but not by much.
Man, I had the Bears, that Bears game at 3.5, so that one got me not being at 3, so I ended up losing that game. So I went 5-11 on my spread last week.
6-9-1 for me. I had the Bear I had it at 3.
So you got the push on that one.
I got the push on that.
Nice. So at least you got the push on that one. Yeah, that was a rough one. But I did go 10-6 money and 11-5 over under. That's probably my best over under this week.
That's very nice. I went 11-5 on the money and 8-8 on the over.
Nice.
I'll take the 500 on the over.
Oh yeah, but you know what? This season's been a beautiful run. It's been a beautiful run. Some good football we've seen played this year. Good football, and we got a long way to go, baby. Long way to go.
Do it again.
All right, brother. We're gonna kick off this slate this week. We got the Bears here. Bears and Commanders. What do you like of that one?
I actually like Washington to win this game. I think Washington wins this, but I like Chicago to cover. Chicago, I think they're coming out of their funk. They can obviously score points. I know it was against Denver last week, but I think Fields is going to find it again, and I like the over in this one. How about you?
I don't know. I like the Washington Commanders actually to cover this one at 6.5 is what I had them at.
You had 6.5?
Yeah, I had them at 6.5, still sitting there. But I think actually that was yesterday. I think as of today they're probably at 5.5. Either way, I definitely would take them at 5.5. But I'm going to take them at 6.5.
All right.
And then I obviously the Commanders to take the money line, and then the under. I got the under hitting at 44.5. Like that still stands.
You like the under on that one?
Yep, I like the under on that one, just because of the fact that I think the Commanders, they got a great defensive line and they can really stymie the Bears offense, and it's in Washington.
It is.
It's in Washington.
Washington's tough. They played the Eagles really tough.
Oh yeah,
last week.
and they always play the Eagles tough. That's why that was one of my games. It was kind of my sneaky pick for the Commanders to cover that game because they always seem to cover and sometimes sneak out a win. That's where I kind of try to sneak a win in on that one. But that was a tough one.
They did cover.
Yes, they definitely did. So, and it's going to be a Thursday night snoozer. So, I'm going to throw this one extra here as a bonus here. I got the Smoking Token Primetime Parlay. Token Primetime Parlay. Because the only way I'm going to have any interest to watch this entire game is I got to have some juice on it, baby. Got to have some juice. So, what I got is the Commanders to hit the money line. Terry McLaurin, anytime touchdown score. The under to hit at 44.5. And Terry McLaurin to go over 58.5 receiving yards.
Okay,
so, basically 59 receiving. That's a plus 882 hit. Plus 882 hit. That's something that's going to keep me tied to that game all game long.
Oh, yeah.
All game long. I know that for a fact. So I had to do that for that Thursday night because sometimes those games can be snoozers without any juice. That's why it's a Smoking Token Primetime Parlay. So make sure you like and subscribe because we'll get those hits for you every week coming. And I know I'm due this week to get back on that winning track, baby.
I like that one.
Yeah, so that's where I'm kind of going with that. Also, shout out to True on the Track for getting us blessed with those intro beats here. We appreciate you guys tuning in. So make sure you like and subscribe. What do we got next on the slate, Bobby?
Our next game is Jacksonville at Buffalo.
Okay.
Who do you got, Jason?
Well, the Bills are playing like a wagon right now, man. They are playing like a wagon. They shut down those Dolphins, man. They shut down those Dolphins, and they put up some points last week.
They did 48.
They did lose Tre'Davious White.
I seen blew as a
second. That's the second time. I think he blew the left one the first time,
now
and now he blew the right one. So yeah, I mean that's gonna be a rough loss.
Yeah, but Jacksonville just hasn't shown me anything on offense so far this year that makes me even scared that they're gonna go into Buffalo.
No consistency. I don't think it's been. I think I saw a stat. I think it was that Trevor Lawrence has gone the last maybe 9 or 10 games without throwing for over 300 yards.
Really?
Yeah, so that's a little bit disturbing, especially going against the Bills.
Especially with that defense or the wide receiver core that they have.
Oh, yeah, but there's been something missing with him and Calvin Ridley. Even though Calvin Ridley got in the end zone last week, there's been something kind of off between those two.
Christian Kirk is coming on strong.
Oh,
the last 2 weeks, he's been balling.
Yeah, he had a great season that first year. He showed why they paid him the money to come there. So now I think they just got to find some cohesiveness back. I just don't know if going up to Buffalo is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they're not even going to Buffalo. That's going to be in London. That's going to be in London.
I mean, anything can happen in London, but I don't think
it's basically a home game for Jacksonville. I think they stayed there. I don't even think they came back.
They did not.
Yeah, I don't even think they came back. So they stayed there. So they might play in the Jaguars' favor, but With that being said, I have them at 5.5. Is what I had to
Yep,
spread it.
that's what I
Yeah,
have.
5.5. I got the Bills to cover that one. Obviously hitting the money line, and I like the over on that at 48.5.
We're in agreement all the way across the board.
All
on
right,
that
I
one.
like that one. That's
I
kind of
like
where
that
I'm going on that one.
And Gabe Davis, big game, Gabe Davis. Yeah, that's a tongue.
He got another TD. That's 3
He
weeks in a
did.
row.
He
3
did.
weeks in a row. Even though Stephon Diggs went off, Gabe Davis still got his, and he got another TD to find an end zone again.
He's a nice number 2 wide receiver.
So that's your fantasy pick you like for that week?
Yeah, I like Gabe Davis in that one.
Okay, nice. All right, so next up we got the Texans and Falcons. All right, so who do you like with that one, Bobby?
Oh man, we were talking smack against Houston last week, saying they're not going to get 2 wins in a row. Man, they looked really good.
CJ Stroud is making me a believer.
I tell you what, this Houston team could end up winning that South.
Out of all the teams all the rookie quarterbacks that are coming out this year, I liked him the best coming out in that situation. I just didn't know how, because Houston's been such a dumpster fire for the last couple of years. I didn't know how that was going to pan out. So, but CJ Stroud was who I liked the best, and he's showing it, man. I think he's got 1,400 yards passing already, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. No interceptions. I think it's a record. I think the only person I think that had a hotter start than him was Cam Newton.
Really?
Yes, Cam Newton. So I like that a lot. So with that being said, I'm going with the Texans. 1.5 is what I had that game going at. They're the underdogs. They're the 1.5 point underdogs. So that game's in Atlanta, so they're going to get Atlanta gets obviously the home points on that end. But so I like that at 1.5. Obviously, the Texans get the money line too as well. And then I like the under on that one, 41.5.
Okay, we're only in disagreement on the over. I like the over in that.
Do you?
I think they could easily put up 20 points, 23 points apiece.
I can see it happening. The only problem that I have with the Atlanta Falcons, I like everything about their team except for the most important. Yep, except for the most important part is Desmond Ridder. He was a great college quarterback. Was a 4-year starter at the University of Cincinnati, but I just don't like him as an NFL quarterback. I just don't see that. I see him being more of a career backup guy.
They're wasting Pitts in London down there.
Oh, big time. Kyle Pitts, they've got nothing from Pitts.
No.
Because you go off of Mariota last year, then the Ridder this year, they don't have anybody that can get him the ball.
I mean, Juno Smith has been their best tight end.
Yeah,
he's got more catches so far.
Because he catches a bunch of passes in the flats.
Right.
That's why. So Ridder can handle that.
They got to do something.
They've got to do something quickly. They got to do something quickly because, like I said, they're wasting a lot of the prime years of Pitts under this rookie contract right now. But it might play an advantage because he won't have the numbers come contract time. So we'll see. But that's for another show.
Yeah, as far as fantasy goes, I mean, give me anybody off the Texans offense right now. Even Singletary's putting up flex worthy numbers.
Nico Collins had a game last week.
I tell you what.
You know what? I think in our bar fantasy, I think I slid Nico into mine. I think that helped me win. I got first place in that one last week.
Between Collins and Dell, I mean, they're kind of set at wide receiver for the next couple of years.
Yeah, some guys that you don't really know. And isn't Robert Woods down there too as well?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so you got a nice veteran.
Yeah, I haven't even heard about him.
Yeah, I mean, but he's just a veteran leader that helps get those young guys along and get them going while they got the fresh young legs. He'll come in there, get a lot of blocking out of the slot. I like that.
Oh yeah, Houston's gonna win that game.
I'm just, the Texans are making me a believer, and quietly I want to root for D'Amico Ryans. I always liked him as a player, liked him as a coordinator with the 49ers. Him getting that job was long overdue, and I really like him as a head coach. He seemed to be really changing that culture down there.
They need it.
They needed it big time. They need a big overhaul. All right, so the next game we got is the Colts and the Titans in Indianapolis.
Ooh, Tennessee shocking me last week.
I
know Cincinnati's down and out right now, but they really just beat them up.
Yeah, they beat them up. I mean, it's a Vrabel team, man. Vrabel's going to always have those boys a buzzing. He's always going to have his teams a buzzing. I like Tennessee as far as what they did last week against Cincinnati, but I don't want to get caught up in the fool's gold because the fact that we don't have a real Joey Burrow right now. We don't. We've got a half a Jordan.
Offense is a shell of itself.
Yeah, it's a shell of itself right now. They can't really run the ball that much. The offensive line, they're going through those woes. They always seem to have week 6, week 7 before they finally kind of figure out what to do with their offensive line.
I'm not sold on Tennessee either.
No, so I've got the Colts being at home as a 1.5 favorite. I like the Colts, obviously, for them to hit the money line too as well, and then the over/under being a 42.5.
Yep, you like the over?
Under. I'm sorry, under. Yeah, I like the under at 42.5. Yes.
I also like the Colts to cover, hit the money line, but I like the over in this.
You like the over?
42.5.
Yeah, I just think with a division rival, interdivision game, I think it might play a little tight. There's some familiarity from the organization, even though Shane Steichen's a new coach there within that division, so they don't have a lot of tape. But at this point, when you go to week 5, you got a lot of tape on every team now at this stage.
So what about Taylor? Do you think he? He said he's going to practice again.
He's going to practice, but they may stick him in for a limited role, but Zach Moss has looked too good.
Right, he
I mean,
has
they
looked
really
really
have
good.
no need to rush him back into the lineup and jump him in, especially because he was kind of a culture cancer. So I mean, at that point, I mean, you kind of make him kind of earn his way back in the team.
How much better do the Colts look if he plays from week 1?
Oh, I mean, they look much better because I mean, you got a guy Zach Moss as good as he's looked, like
He's
playing
not
wise.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have it to take 75 yards to the house. Like I mean, Zach Moss is going to do some things. I actually just learned he was actually Santana and Sonoris Moss' cousin.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I'd actually learned that listening to another podcast. I think it was not New Heights, the Pivot podcast. I think this
Well,
week
you
I
can
heard that
see
on.
where the family genes come in.
No, yeah, but I mean, he doesn't have those.
He doesn't
he doesn't have that
speed.
that speed and that wiggle that those boys had. No, he was a lot thicker Moss.
Okay,
A lot
so
thicker Moss.
Indiana to cover, win. You got the under, and I've got the over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So next up, we've got the Panthers and the Lions. Panthers and the Lions. What do you think about that one, Bobby?
This one's going on. I've got it at 10 points right now.
You got it at 10.
We got it at 10.
That must have gone up.
Yeah, I had it at 9.5 this morning. It is sitting at 10 right now.
Oh wow.
I mean, I like Carolina's showing they can be scrappy this year. I like Carolina to cover the 10 points. Detroit's going to win this game, and give me the under.
Okay, so I like Carolina. So I had them at 8.5, but that was as of yesterday.
Okay.
That was as of yesterday at 8.5. So they're rolling off at 10. I was going to have Carolina cover 8.5. So I sure as shit I'm going to have them cover
Yeah,
10.
cover that.
Sure as shit, but I still going to like the Lions to win at home. The Lions have been playing like a wagon. I mean, the Lions have not been playing. They've been beating people up. I mean, they beat the hell out of
demolished the
Green Bay. I
Packers.
mean, they beat them, physically dominated on every facet of the game pretty much in that game. So I like the Lions to keep that rolling and keep command of that division. And I like the over in that game. I had
like the
over
over?
5 at 45. Is it any different from 45 that you got today?
40. I've got it 44.5.
44.5. I would take that either way. If I'm gonna take over on 45, I
Going
definitely take over on 44.5.
All right.
Absolutely. All right. So then next up we got here, we've got the Ravens and the Steelers, another interdivision game.
Oh,
Ravens
this is
and Steelers.
always a fun one.
Wow, this can be, but the Steelers have not been fun to watch this
no.
year. Oh my gosh, this has been some offensively ugly football. And I heard something that Jeff Saturday said this morning on Get Up, and he has a pretty good point. One of the problems the NFL is running into right now is they're expecting these quarterbacks to be stars so fast. Well, if you remember when Ben Roethlisberger came into the league,
Yeah, didn't he start out 15-0 or something?
yeah, but
like
he
that?
was handing the ball off.
He
He
was.
threw the ball 22, 23 times during the game, and they played lights out defense, physical defense.
They did.
They weren't trying to get him to be this lead, I'm going to go be an all-pro quarterback. And so at some point, the NFL is transitioning, and these guys come in, just the same thing as Mac Jones. You look at Mac Jones. Mac Jones is one of those guys that had a great rookie season, and now he's regressed a little bit, and everybody wants to call him trash. How about we just let these guys get a little bit more time to develop, ease their way into, and I think
So I assume you're talking about Pickett. Or just
Kenny
quarterbacks in
Pickett.
general.
Oh yeah, well Kenny Pickett, any young quarterbacks in general, but yes, for sure, Kenny Pickett. Yes, for sure, Kenny Pickett. They've kind of tried to thrust,
They probably do throw the ball a little too much. in
Well, I
Pittsburgh
mean,
right
especially after he won a couple games, and when the Tomlin came out and said Kenny motherfucking Pickett,
Right.
you start getting like that hype train gets going a little bit too much, man. And let's see if Mr. Two Gloves can what he can do as far as how he pans out from a long term standpoint. But so I have the Ravens as 4-point favorites in that
now. Yep,
one.
I've got it at 4.
Okay, and so I like the Ravens to cover the 4.
Okay.
Obviously, they're going to hit the money line, and then I like the over under to be. I like the under was at 38.5. Did you get 30.5?
We're in agreement on this.
Okay.
38.5 all the way across the board.
The Ravens just look too good. I got burned on them last week because I did not expect, like when we did the picks earlier in the week, I didn't expect Deshaun Watson to be a scratch, and
I did not either.
And they put Dorian Thompson. Was it Dorian Thompson?
God, I don't even know his name.
Hunter or something like that or whatever. No, not Hunter. It's something like it's a DTR is what they call him. So
Robinson.
yeah,
Isn't it
Dorian Thompson Robinson. Yeah. So I mean, and that's also again where we got to remember not to fall in the hype of the preseason because everybody talked about how much of a stud he was. They traded away Josh Dobbs for DTR.
They did.
And you see what Josh Dobbs is doing with those
Josh
Cardinals
Dobbs
right
is
now.
balling
They would have
this
loved
year.
to have had Josh Dobbs. They could have probably had a lot more competitive game against the Browns last week. Against the Ravens last week.
Oh, for sure.
But because DTR looks so bad, I mean, the Ravens pretty much just played bully ball on them.
They did.
All game. They played what's his name? Why am I drawing a blank? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, he didn't really have a spectacular passing game. He had a couple beautiful passes in there, but I mean, they just pretty much just beat him up.
I mean, they really didn't have to.
Yeah, they really didn't have to. I mean, because the Browns could do nothing on offense.
The Browns were just that bad.
They could do nothing on offense. So, who do you like in the fantasy aspect from that game, Bobby?
As far as that one goes, I didn't write anybody down, so I like nobody.
I don't blame you on that one. If I were to take an outside shot, I may go with like a Zay Flowers, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I mean,
but
like with the over/under being at 38.5, nobody. This interdivision game, nobody's going to put up big yards or points. I really don't. I wouldn't put anybody off of that game in any daily fantasy.
Yeah, not for daily fantasy. I mean, not, if you're going there, I mean, there's too many other options right there at this point. Definitely too many other options. So next up, we got the New York Giants versus the Miami Dolphins, and they got to go to South Beach for that one.
Yes,
the Giants have not looked pretty, and the Dolphins are coming off of their first loss of the season too. Oh, I can see this being another ugly week for the G-Men.
The Giants' season is effectively over after this week.
I believe so, and I think they're going to drastically regret paying Danny Dimes. I think Danny Dimes is looking like Danny Dumps right now. He's looking like Danny Dumps.
Well, that offensive line is just horrendous.
Well, they got Andrew Thomas is out, so they lost their best offensive lineman in week 1.
You get sacked 11 or 10 times, 11 as a team.
Yeah, and then he got. I mean, because then he came off the count when they played the Cowboys. I mean, that was another game they had like 8 sacks. I mean, the dude's getting beat the hell up. Nobody can get his separation. Last week, Waller couldn't even get out in the passing game because he had to stay in and chip block the entire time because of the constant pressure. And Seattle was really a very marginal defensive team up until that point.
Right.
So, I mean, like, for me, if you got dominated like that by a Seattle team on defense, you're going to go down to Miami. You're going to have to go down to Miami. You're going to have to play in that humidity. If you're coming from the Northeast, because that's why Miami always has such an advantage in that division, especially later in the season. They're playing all the other teams who are in the Northeast. So they have to go down to South Beach and play in that 90% humidity. Like, I don't care what you say. You think the elevation in Denver's hard? Go take your ass from 70 degrees to 95 with 90% humidity. I mean, that's a totally different beast.
Like breathing water.
Yeah, that's a totally different beast. So I had them at 10.5. It's what I had the Dolphins.
I've got it at 11 right now.
You know what? I would take either one of them. At either one. The Giants have given me no indication, especially with the Dolphins coming off the game that they did. They give me no indication they would be able to slow that offense down. Obviously, the Dolphins get the money line, and then the over-under was 49.5.
Yep, that's what I have.
I like the under just for this sheer fact. I like the under just for this sheer fact. I can see the Dolphins putting up 40. But I can see the G-Man scoring 6. Okay. That's kind of where I'm leaning at on that aspect.
Actually, I'm kind of going with the over at 49.5. I think Miami might beat the over by themselves.
I could very easily see that, but I just didn't want to get caught up in that distant memory of that 70 points. That's 70 points, because that's one of those situations that makes you every time go, oh shit, they can put up a shit ton of points.
Put up a ton of points. So we're in agreement, except for the over/under again. Right. So one of us is going to have a really good
over/under week, or we're going to both be hovering around 500, one of the two.
Split everyone.
Right. So as far as, did you have a fantasy play on that one?
I do. Give me Bertrand Berrios. Really surprised me last week.
Berrios has been playing some ball.
He's really surprised me. So if you're looking for a low cost wide receiver and a high powered offense, you got to go with Berrios.
I guess I'd check your injury report and make sure you look and see if River Craycraft is going to be playing, because that could be the only thing that can maybe cut in. That could be the one thing that can cut into Berrios a little bit. Okay. All right, so yeah, we like that. That's that slate there. So we're getting close to the end here on a Sunday afternoon game, or the Sunday morning games that start at noon here in Central Time. So we got the Saints and the lowly Patriots, who got beat the hell up by the Cowboys last week. But the Saints got beat up too by Baker. Took it to the boys.
Tampa looks. They looked really good last week.
They looked the cream of the crop in that division.
That's the first time New Orleans has given up over 20 points. To damn near a season.
Yeah, so. I mean, but again, they're playing that Patriots offense where Mac Jones has looked bad, but there's really no offensive weapons outside of some tight ends. And you're not going to break the game open with tight ends. And the most disappointing thing I think about with the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson had a great season last year. And right now, their offensive line can't block to set up any lanes. He can't get any type of gaps to explode through whatsoever. So, I mean, they've got one of the bottom tier running games. I think they're at like 26th, 27th as far as ranked in rushing is right now in the season. Right. And that's what Mac Jones needs, is he has that rushing game so he get that play action.
So you can,
because he's not going to create on his own.
No, their wide receivers are not going to get separation.
Oh, they get no separation. I mean, anytime you see him throw to a wide receiver, I mean, there's a defender within a yard every single time. So
that being said, what do we like?
I like the Saints to cover 1.5 because the Patriots.
The Saints to cover.
Yeah, I like the Saints to cover because the Patriots, because it's a home game. But Also, keep in mind, and let's also see what happens here. They did bring J.C. Jackson back from the Chargers today.
Oh, they did.
They did bring J because the Chargers let J.C. Jackson go.
Okay.
He was a very failed mission up there in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. But the Patriots have a track record of bringing boys back home and them coming back into that Patriot way and doing things.
make it work.
So I can see that kind of like maybe giving them a little jolt. But offensively wise, they got to show me something before I go with them. So yes, I like the Saints to cover the 1.5. The being underdogs at 1.5. Obviously hitting the money line, and I definitely like the under in this one at 40.5.
Well, we agree on the under. That's it. I think once again, I don't think Bill Belichick's going to see a 1-4 team. I don't know that I'm ever going to see it in my life.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a
New Orleans has nothing that scares me going up into New England.
Well,
Is
Kamara.
Carr going to be out again? Is Winston
Well,
gonna
Kamara
be-
played last week.
No, not Kamara. Carr.
No, I mean Carr played last week.
Oh, he did
Yeah,
play
he
last
did
week?
end up
Okay,
playing
I did
last
not
week.
see that.
Yeah, I mean he could tell he wasn't fully healthy, but he played last
I
week.
thought
but
he
mean,
was out with the concussion.
No, he was out. It was a shoulder injury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he went down with a shoulder, and he actually ended up playing that week. Is that last week? But I mean, he didn't look well, but he played last week. But again,
Right,
Patriots also lost Matthew Judon. That was their best defensive player right there. So them losing Matthew Judon, that's the other thing I kind of factored into that game of why I was like, oh, I don't know, man. But the Saints defense, as bad as their offenses look right now, and that's why I like the under, because I figure I could see that being a slugfest of like
Yeah, I can see that being a
17-13, that type of thing. Being a boring-ass morning game, starting at noon in New
I
England.
just like the Patriots at home.
Yeah. I mean, and it's hard sometimes because of that track record. We have a 20-year stretch.
We do.
Where we saw
and
watching.
someday it's going to fall off, and you're going to be like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And maybe we're watching it right now.
Yeah, we're watching the dynasty possibly be dead. Hey, maybe they'll go. There's a lot of top quarterbacks coming out this year. Maybe they'll go. 4-13, whatever.
Caleb Williams down.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
You got Drake May. I mean, everybody. Quentin Ewers actually from Texas. They're actually people starting to kind of jumping in that picture in the top 10. So we'll see. So I mean, I don't see Bill Belichick losing double-digit games, but I mean, crazier things have happened. Within that aspect. But this week, I'm going with the Saints, and I like the under at 40.5.
If you're going with any fantasy play, give me Kamara.
Yeah.
Kamara's probably I know they let him play last week, but I think he gets more touches this week.
Yeah, he'll be back in the flow. I think, especially playing against New England, they're going to need some big play options there. For
In
sure.
New England, I don't know what's going on. Like you said, with Ramondre Stevens, he can't get anything started. Zeke had the one good game, but obviously he's not going to be your number one.
And really, honestly, them beating the Jets, that was a block punt. I mean, a block field goal. Block field goal pretty much helped them. That wasn't an offensive margin that helped them on that one. That was just some genius play by Bill Belichick on that one. So that's kind of where we're at on the noon games. Now we're going to slide into the afternoon slate here. So now we got the Eagles and the Rams. What do you like on that Eagles and the Rams, Bobby?
Ugh. Well, the Rams they're surprising me this year. Surprisingly good.
Yeah, they're much better than I thought they were
Much
going to
better
be.
than they were last
Whoever
year.
saw Puka Nakua coming, man?
Never
Puka
even heard
Nacua.
of him.
I mean, guy out of BYU, another fellow Oos out there. He's doing his thing, man. I mean,
He is.
And Matthew Stafford looks good. I mean, his arm looks as live as ever. So
Cooper Kupp should be coming off the IR soon.
okay, well we'll
So,
see.
yeah.
We'll see how he lasts there.
But I like Philadelphia in this
Yeah.
game. It's 4 points.
So I had 4.5, but you got 4 today.
It's gone up to 4.5
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, so that's what I had. I had 4.5.
But I still think Philly can cover that.
yeah,
Um,
I think so too.
Philly on the money, and give me the over in this one.
I like the over on that one too. So we're in total agreement on that one. At 50.5 is what I did. You get 50.5?
Yep. I have 50.5.
Yep, that's what I like. I like that one too. I think so. We're clean sweep on that one across the board.
What's going on with Penny? Why did Philadelphia even bother to sign him?
Rashad Penny's one of those guys. He's a very talented player, but he's very injury prone.
He is, but he's not injured. They're just not even dressing him up
DeAndre
right
Swift.
now. Well, I know.
DeAndre Swift, and then Kenneth Gainwell came back.
Yeah.
So and that what that tells me is that Rashad Penny's not good at special teams. Because that's a big thing. Because if you're a third string running back, you have to play special teams. And so for me, that tells me that he's probably not a good special teamer.
Boston Scott's getting all
Yes,
of them.
exactly. Because you got to be a special teamer if you're going to be a third string running back. And in the NFL, if you're
Yeah,
a
'cause they're
backup,
not even dressing him.
Yeah.
They've not dressed him twice now.
that's why, like, if you look at a coach like Nick Saban, with like why his program in Alabama was so strong for so long, he would put starting players on special teams because he told them, he said, guys, you got to understand, if you're going to make it in a career in the NFL, sometimes if you're a backup, you don't get to be on a backup backup roster if you can't play special teams. You can't. That's the NFL. Everybody has to do something. Nobody sits on the sidelines in the NFL and doesn't get on the field at all, except for maybe the punter if you have an awesome offense. Outside of that, anybody else that dresses up on that day, you're earning your salary that day in some capacity.
So we are in total agreement across the board on that one. So we're going to move on to the next game, and we've got Cincinnati at Arizona. Who do you like in that one, Jason?
I've gotten burned by Cincinnati all season long.
Yeah.
But this seems like one of those weeks that would be a trap.
Like a trap.
It would be a trap to go away from Cincinnati because Arizona's at home and Arizona's look so good. It seems like a trap week. So I got to ride with it one more time.
I got to ride with it. I'm getting trapped this week.
I got to ride with it one more time. They're 3-point favorites going into Arizona. I'm riding with it one more time. Obviously hitting the money line, and I like the over at 44.5.
So you like Cincinnati to cover, win, and the over.
Yeah, the over at 44.5.
We're in total disagreement on that one. I think that's the first time in the show that we've been in total disagreement.
Every single one.
I like Arizona to cover, win, and the under to hit. If Arizona's going to win, they're going to have to keep it low and slow. So,
yeah, I mean, which I can see this going anyway. For me, felt like this would be right when I go against Cincinnati, all of a sudden Jamar Chase has 2 touchdowns. Cardinals start looking like the Cardinals everybody was expecting. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, that's one of those kind of toss-up games. If I had to put some actual juice on the game, it wouldn't be a game I would touch by a long shot. But this is a Gambling Pod. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We want to make sure that we put all the bets and options out there for you of what you would like to do. But if you ask me if I had to put my money with a gun to the head, I would not touch this game.
This is my upset special of the week right here.
Okay.
Arizona to win. Hit the under, cover. It's only actually going off at 420 though.
Okay, that's right. So that means that Vegas doesn't see that.
Bet.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't seem as very far fetched. So, like I said, I can see that one going either way. I'm just going to ride with Cincinnati one more time.
Give me Zach Ertz as far as he has gotten 10 targets, 2 out of the 4 games this season.
Nice.
Had 8 in the other game. He's only had 1 stinker, and that was against the Cowboys. Yeah. So.
And that's just because they were running the ball all over him. I had 225 rushing yards against the Cowboys.
Zach Ertz is balling this year.
Oh yeah, I mean he's had it. I mean Zach Ertz has always been a solid pro, and Josh Dobbs is a veteran quarterback, and a lot of those guys that are back up the veteran quarterbacks, they like that safety blanket of the tight end.
Dobbs has been surprising.
Yes, he's been very surprising. Cleveland would like to have him right now. I'm sure. Absolutely.
Okay, moving on to the next game. I have Kansas City at Minnesota.
Kansas City at Minnesota. All right. So for that one, I like the Chiefs to cover. There is nothing the Vikings has shown me that has made me want to really ride with them in any capacity. They won against Carolina last week, which I figured they would win that game. They almost blew it a few times. They tried. The Vikings tried to Viking their way out of that bitch. They definitely did. So I'm saying at Kansas City to cover the 5.5, hit the money line, and I like the over at 53.5.
Oh, you've got it at 5.5.
Yeah,
it's come down to 4.5.
Has it come down to 4.5? Either way, I would definitely take 4.5. Yeah. So if you can get it at 4.5, absolutely take 4.5.
KC covers money, and I like the over at 53.
Yep, that's what I have, 53.5, but I would take that at 53 too as well. Absolutely.
We're in agreement on that one.
Absolutely.
Minnesota's got no run game right now, so their fantasy running backs are.
I told you, Alexander Madison stinks.
Actually, if you're going to stream anything out of this game, Casey's defense has been really surprising.
They've been solid.
They've been solid this year, and Minnesota is turnover prone. I can see Cousins throwing 3 picks in this game.
They love to fumble for you. There's something in the most inopportune time. It's
Cousins doing Cousins stuff.
All right. So that one right there, that kind of covers that. So I think we were pretty much all in agreement on that one, I'm pretty sure. So the next one we have is Jets and Broncos. Who do you like in this one, Bobby?
Actually, I like the Jets this week. I like the Jets. I've got them at +1.5. They're going into Denver. Denver, I mean, they let the Bears do that to them last week.
Yeah.
The Jets' defense is way, way better than Chicago's.
It definitely is. It definitely is. I have to see another one out of Zach Wilson.
He showed me a little heart.
He did.
Showed me a little heart.
But how much did that have to do with Aaron Rodgers being there, kind of as a calming effect? Well, how much? And will he be in Denver? Because will he take that plane trip with the elevation, everything else?
We're gonna take that chance. Because give me the Jets to cover money line and the under in this one.
You know, I was conflicted. I was very conflicted. But I think I'm going to ride with the Jets, too, on that one. Okay. Also with the money line. I'm going to take the under at 43.5 is what I had. I'm going to take the under.
Yep, we're in agreement on that one.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning to on that one. And that kind of wraps up the day slate for the day there. All right, so next we got Sunday night.
Moving on to Sunday,
Sunday
night.
night,
This is a
baby.
big game,
Woo.
baby. Big game. I'll be
Cowboys
watching
gotta-
this one for sure.
Yeah, Cowboys got to prove some stuff here now because the Niners have been looking unstoppable. I mean, absolutely unstoppable. They're averaging like 30 points a game. They're giving up like 10.
Christian McCaffrey is an absolute beast.
Oh, he's a monster. 4 touchdowns last week. And this would be one of those weeks. George Kittle hasn't even really gone off yet all
No,
season.
he
He
has
hasn't done
not.
anything. And so, I mean, you're looking at, the Cowboys have to not get beat up this game. They have to show that they can handle somebody who gets physically tough with them. I had it 3.5.
I've got it.
The Cowboys are 3.5 point underdogs. It's in San Francisco. Historically, as a Cowboys fan, this is what I've seen that happens. And this is why people get on the wagon and get excited before Super Bowl time. They walk into a game, and this is a game that is primed for the Cowboys to look well in,
Right.
to win, and to show the NFL, hey, we do have a solid
we're here.
team.
We're good.
And that's always what gets the hype train going before they get into the playoffs. So I can see the Cowboys actually going in, covering and winning this game.
Okay.
And I like the under at 45.
Okay. You've got Cowboys cover. I've got the Cowboys to cover. I still think the 49ers pull this one out on like a late field goal or
think
something
so?
like that one.
Brock Purdy's got to lose in the regular season at some
He is,
point.
and eventually he is.
has to
Yes, he
lose in
is.
the regular season at
But
some
I
point.
don't think it's this week.
Yeah, see, for me, I just like the history of watching the Cowboys, being a Cowboy fan. This is a game that's always primed that gets everybody talking. So then Monday morning,
They really need to go in here and show me something.
Dak
Like-
is the one who needs to show
Right,
it.
right.
Dak is what needs to show it. And I really like that being a primetime game then. So keep tuned like, when we pop out another episode on Friday or so, because I am going to have a primetime parlay for you on that one too as well. I'm just going to wait to let a few more
you like the
prop
under
games
in
out.
that one?
Yes, I like the under on that one. So do you like any fantasy players out of that?
No, this is just going to be an old school matchup. Well, you could go with anybody in this one. Anybody has the ability,
Right. I
to
mean,
be a big time scorer in this one. But Devo, Ayuk, Kittle could
that
finally
would
get some use.
that would be my sneaky pick
Kittle.
right now is Kittle, just because of the fact they haven't really thrown him into the mix and used him a whole lot. So that's kind of where I would go with on that game.
Elijah Mitchell. I mean, because if they're really talking about limiting McCaffrey's touches, they've got to get Elijah Mitchell some touches
Yeah,
eventually.
they have to, but this is a big game.
mean,
This might not be the game they do it. I mean,
Maybe not.
Yeah, this is a big game for both teams because this could have some home field
Oh, yeah.
implications later
Oh, yeah.
on in the season, the whole 9 there. So I don't know if I want to go through with that aspect as far as Elijah Mitchell, but I would probably go Kittle. As far as from a value standpoint, that would probably be the best bet I would probably go with on
Yeah,
that
his
aspect.
his value is definitely down this year just because he's not catching.
Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't. They just haven't got him in the up. They haven't had to.
No.
They haven't had to. And
I
Kittle
mean,
loves to block.
Devo went a whole game without even getting a target.
Yeah, he didn't even get a target this last game, but then the game before that, he was balling. So, I mean, they just have so many weapons. And the way their offensive scheme goes, it's so hard. Kyle Shanahan is probably one of the best play callers in the NFL, only rivaled by Mike McDaniel, who used to be on that same staff.
Right.
So, I mean, outside of that, I mean, I don't know. This can go either way. So, I mean, but I can see this being a breakout game for Kittle.
Okay.
All right, so then we got the last slate, the Monday night game. The Monday night game.
This is not looking like a good one.
You know what? It doesn't look like a great one, but to me, this is kind of an easy call for me right now. I got the Packers being 1.5 point favorites. I would take the Packers all day, obviously with the money line too as well, and I would take the over at 44.5. Just because the Raiders just seem to be a mess. I mean, I don't know if you saw that interview with Josh Jacobs where he looked and he said, "Dude, I'm just tired of losing.
Really?
I'm tired
No,
of
I
losing.
did
I'm
not
tired of
see
being
that one.
close. I'm tired of saying we were only 4 or 5 plays away. I'm just tired of losing."
Right.
And right now, I don't think anybody likes Josh McDaniel at all.
No,
Josh
well, I
McDaniels is like
I
from
don't
the
know what the Raiders were thinking when they hired him.
everybody gets caught up because he's the offensive genius. He's run the Belichick, all that, and everybody kind of gets all okay, man, because he is a great offensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
and that's where he
But
should
that-
stay.
Yes, exactly. That doesn't make you a good head coach.
It's like Mike Martz.
Yeah, that doesn't make you a leader of men because you could be a wizard on the chalkboard.
You had what, Green Bay at +1?
I had him at
yes.
minus 1.5.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, he had a
minus-
minus 1.5.
It's -1 on mine, but I like Green Bay in the under in that one.
You like the under?
Yep, what do you got?
Yeah, I like the over.
You like
Yeah, I
the
like the
over?
over.
Okay.
Yep, yeah, I like the over.
So Green Bay cover, the money, and the over for you.
Yeah, so I think we got a packed slate this week. We got some great games, some great matchups. We got some duds in there too as well. So don't forget about that Smoke and Token primetime parlay for tomorrow night's game if you want to watch that one.
I do. Aaron Jones, he's going to break out this week. I know he was coming off the quad injury,
His hamstring.
the
Yeah,
hamstring.
Yep.
But Aaron Jones is going to break out this week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like that one. That's a good solid play for this week. And I can say it again, don't forget about that Smoke and Token primetime parlay. We got the Commanders at winning the money line. Terry McLaurin getting an anytime touchdown. Under hitting at 44.5. And Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, getting over 58.5 yards receiving. That pays out at plus 882. So check that one out for tomorrow night's game because it's probably going to be a snoozer. You want to have some juice.
I've got a 4-pick parlay for you. The Eagles, Kansas City, Detroit, and Buffalo to win on the money line. It's an easy one. 371.10.
Right, I like that. I like that.
All 4 of those teams should have no problem.
Yeah, they should have no problem doing that. And sometimes you just got to go with some good, safe, clean money.
Right. Just,
there's
win some easy money.
Nothing wrong with that. So once again, welcome for joining us in this weekly episode of Bets and Buds. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
Thank you again. Make sure you like and subscribe. Come see us again and check us out for the next episode. We will see you next week. Peace.
Hey.